Coming up, we're going to review the habits of maybe one of the most influential people America has ever known. And then middle-class jobs are shrinking, but there are some that are growing. We'll break it down. That's next. Welcome to the show that helps you win at work. I want you getting better so that you're moving up the ladder and you are leading effectively. So this is perfect. You want to do great things? Do what great people did. There you go. That could be the entire show. I could literally stop the show. Alex wouldn't be happy, but that would be enough for you to learn something today. You want to do great things? Do what great people did. And so we're going to go back into the Wayback Machine today. The team and I were talking about this recently, about an idea, and I'd been reading a book about America's founding fathers and how they viewed the pursuit of happiness, a phrase that they actually talked about in their personal correspondence well before Thomas Jefferson penned it in the Declaration of Independence. It was an idea that they were influenced by. And so I was reading this book. The actual title of the book is The Pursuit of Happiness. It's a great book. You should read it. And one of the things that kept popping up in this book was the daily rituals, the routines, the agendas of these very influential men. So let's start with Ben Franklin, shall we? I thought, let's just use Ben Franklin's daily agenda. Now, there's lots of different versions because he would change his agenda. So for some of you fact checkers out there, relax. This version is one of many versions. He would have changed his daily agenda much like you do. Okay. But I've seen multiple different versions of his daily agenda. And the one we're going to share with you today is, in fact, very indicative of how he would spend each day. And so I want to roll through this and then give you some observations, okay? So this is Ben Franklin's daily rhythm, daily agenda. From 5 a.m. to 8 a.m., this is what his agenda was. Rise, wash, and address powerful goodness! Exclamation point. Do you love the way they talked and wrote back then? I certainly do. Contrive the day's business. That means kind of plan. Let's think about what I'm going to get done today. And take the resolution of the day. Prosecute the present study and breakfast. I'm going to come back to each of these, okay? There's so much richness in this. All right. Next, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., he wrote down work. From 12 to 2, he would read or overlook my accounts, his financial accounts, and then dine. Okay? From 2 to 6 was blocked off for more work. From 6 to 10, this is what he would write, put things in their places, supper, music or diversion, or conversation, examination of the day. And then from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., sleep. All right. I'm not saying that you have to do this agenda, but I'm saying if you had an agenda of your day that had these elements and these disciplines in it, you would be far more effective. Let's break it down. I'm going to take my analysis. I'm not a historian, for those of you wondering. I'm not an expert on this, but I'm going to use some common sense, and I've read a lot about Franklin. I've read Isaacson's biography on him. I know enough to inform my own comments on this, so let's break this schedule down. Now that I've given you the day, let's break it down. All right, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. All right, we get the rise, wash. That's like us taking a shower, right? And address powerful goodness. Now, in his notes, powerful is capitalized and goodness is capitalized. Can I tell you what he's talking about? I think he's talking about prayer. I think he's talking about some meditation. Address powerful goodness, exclamation point was the way he wrote it. I think that's saying I'm going to start my day being grateful for another morning. I'm going to start my day in gratitude, thankful to the supreme power, God of the universe, who created all things and me. I think that's what he's saying. Well, that's a great way to start. Then he says, contrive the day's business. Now that he's had some alone time with God, whatever that looked like for him, he's contriving the day's business. In other words, he's planning, thinking through what's the most important thing today? What's the highest priority today? That's what he's saying. Take the resolution of the day. That's pretty cool. I don't know what that means, and so I'm going to skip over that instead of try to fake it. All right? But to be resolute, to take a resolution, right? That's pretty interesting. There could very well be saying, after coming through, contrive the day's business, and what am I resolving? What is the theme of the day? Could be. I love prosecute the present study. To me, that's something that he's thinking about, processing. Maybe he's studying something. He was a classic inventor. And then breakfast. So, is that the order in which he did it? We'd have to have a historian to weigh in on that. The answer is we really don't know. But that was what was on his agenda from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. All right, now, 8 to 12 is work. Okay? 12 to 2, fascinating. Now, this is a power lunch. Ben Franklin was the first guy to have a power lunch. All right, now, power lunch in today's world might mean a lot of different things, a lot of different people, but this is a power lunch. He's taking a break from work. That's the key thing, a 2-hour break from work. Fascinating. He's going to read. First thing on his agenda is read. Going to go grab a book, and I'm going to read. Maybe you read Find the Work You're Wired to Do if you hate the work you're in. I don't know. Maybe you read a spy novel. Maybe you read about a subject matter that you're interested in, your field. Read. Then he overlooked his accounts, so he's looking at his finances, and he has lunch. 2 to 6 is work. Okay? Back to that, we get that, another block of focused work. And then 6 to 10. I really enjoyed this one. Put things in their places. He's going to organize things around the house, get things in order. He has his supper. Music or diversion. Now, keep in mind, folks, these people did not have televisions. They did not have smartphones or iPads. They didn't have streaming services, Alex. You know what they had? Company. They would go sit in parlors. You sat and you gathered and you talked. It was relationships is the point. Music or diversion. I don't know what that means, but you know. You can take that as you will. I will tell you that if you study Franklin, he was a ladies' man, so I think that might be his diversion. And then conversation, and then here's my favorite thing. At the end of the day, examination. All great thinkers, all great doers have a rhythm of reflection at the end of the day. So as much fun as I've had with this idea here, it's relationship and reflection were their evenings. Did you catch that? Relationships and reflection. That's what their evenings consisted of. And I think there's some great power in that. This idea that after a full day of work, we're going to be in relationship with other people and friends and have a good time, good drink, good food, good music, good time. So I want you to walk away from this to say that I took away from this good work, good time, and good reflection. I think if you add those 3 elements to your day, you'll see a massive change in your life. Good work, do good work, have a good time, make sure that you have good reflection. I think that's really, really interesting stuff. Good work, good time, good reflection. That's a good life. Freedom to do the work that you really want to do, to make the kind of money you want to make so you can live the life you want to live. This is what everybody's looking for. Nobody's looking for a better job. You're looking for a better life. And that's why I partner with Bethel College School of Technology. They've helped so many of our listeners and viewers change their life. And now they've got an exciting opportunity for one of you lucky listeners. It is a full scholarship. That's right, a full scholarship for one of their programs starting this January. Now, for those of you who may not win the scholarship, hey, you could still get a 10% discount just for filling out an application. They've got micro-credentials, certificates, and degrees in high-demand tech fields like web development, data science, and more. And you could be earning an average starting salary of $75,000 with just 15 weeks of training. It's a game changer. Now is the perfect time to pursue the career and the life that you want in tech. So don't wait. Scholarship applications are due December 15th, 2024. Go to bethelcollege.edu/Ken for full details and receive that 10% tuition discount. That's bethelcollege.edu/Ken. Terms and conditions do apply. All right, folks. One of my goals is to always keep you on the cutting edge of trends and things that could affect your ability to make an income. Here's a CBS News article that I want to break down. I think it's an important headline. Middle-class jobs are shrinking, and these could one day disappear. There are almost all of these are in the middle class that we're going to go over, obviously. And we're talking about pay from $40,000 on the low end to right around $100,000, a bit over $100,000 a year. And in this particular group of professions, in that demographic of income, the forecast from the Department of Labor shows that they will shed more than 600,000 jobs by 2033 in this particular area. We're going to break this down for you. And you're going to see here a heavy dose of clerical workers. Now, before I go through this, workers that remain in these particular occupations will have to have skills to adapt to new technology, such as artificial intelligence or other forms of automation. Okay? So here we go. I'm not going to go through all these. Let's just go through some of the top 10. Office clerks. They're going to see a reduction of 147,000 jobs through 2033. First-line supervisors of retail sales workers. I'm not going to go through the amount of jobs every time. This is all adding up to, obviously, 600,000 jobs. First-line supervisors of office and administrative support workers. So I want to stop there. We have two different categories, and what you're seeing is first-line supervisors. Okay? So that right there is an interesting indicator of a trend. It doesn't matter whether they're retail sales workers or they are administrative support workers. We are talking about that line of management. Okay? So if you've got a manager of a store, maybe we call them the overall manager, and then you have shift managers. So we're talking about shift managers. Whatever that title is, that first front line of management, we could call it middle management in this situation, gone. You're going to see an efficiency there. That's interesting. Let's keep going. Metal and plastic machine workers. So again, this is where AI and robots and automation is going to come in and really affect these workers. Financial clerks. These are numbers people crunching numbers. Again, AI and programming going to be able to crunch numbers a lot easier, a lot faster. Material recording clerks. Bill and account collectors. Quality control inspectors. So, again, I'm just highlighting about 8 of the top 10 here. What do we see? Where you can essentially write code and create an AI program, and where an artificial intelligence, some type of bot or a program, can do what other people have previously done and do it faster and a lot more efficient, removing human error, that's where you're going to see a shift, okay? But again, just because you're in this field doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to make a living. You may have to adjust and add some skill sets. Because remember this, computers can only do what humans allow them to do or program them to do or tell them what to do, okay? So keep that in mind. All right, now let's keep going for a quick analysis. And then I'm going to come back here in a minute and I'm going to tell you the middle class jobs that they're forecasting growth, okay? Because there's some good news here. Now, let's look at technology jobs, okay? Because as technology advances, you will have a shift of technology workers who they were paid at one point to do A and now no longer needed to do A, but they can be shifted or they can pivot, if you will, into technology work to do B, okay? And that's what you're going to see. This Bureau of Labor Statistics report is forecasting that computer programmers will shed 10% of their workers by 2033. The main reason, automation is making coders more efficient, and so you're requiring fewer programmers. However, the same report says that the economy will add more than 300,000 new software developers in the next decade. Okay, so again, you're not kicked out of an industry. You're just going to have to shift. You're going to have to pivot. And again, this is important to point out. The world of work right now is rapidly changing, and I think we will now have a new pace at which work evolves. In other words, the way I'm putting this is, and I believe this, work from the dawn of time until now, as technology comes in, the way work evolves is evolving faster. And then I think from the dawn of time to now, there have been certain periods where we see accelerated changes in the world of work. One, for example, would be the use of the internet. I mean, imagine how quickly our world at work, those who've been working long enough to remember when there was an internet. And I mean, Bob, I age myself here, but when I went to college, there was no internet. I know that freaks you out, Alex, but that's how old I am. I went to college, there was no internet. We didn't have laptops. We were using MS-DOS. Okay? So imagine how the world of work changed when the internet came in. I was there. I was probably 19, 20, first time I got on a computer with internet, and I'm working on a campaign, and the way we did work was like, it changed the game. All right, so there are seasons of history where, and I think with where we are in AI, I think the next 2 or 3 years is one of those times of history we'll look back on and say the world of work rapidly changed in this season, and as a result, every time we see massive changes, then the speed of which work evolves is faster every time. So every time we come through a more major, significant, oh, wow, work evolved, well, guess what? The pace quickens. So here's what I'm getting at. Make sure that you are upskilling and staying up to date with what you need to know. Like I remember 10 years ago, it was like, oh, you need to be able to use Microsoft Excel. That's a joke now. I mean, I guess you still got to be able to use it, but that was like a big skill. Well, so now you're going to have to be able to use AI. You're just going to have to be able to deal with it and use it. So there you go. All right, let me move into some good news. How many of you want some good news really quick? I'm going to roll through this in about a minute. Okay, here are the same report. Where are the middle class jobs growing? Medical assistants, light truck drivers. Now, let me explain that. That's not your 18-wheelers, barreling down the interstate. This is light truck drivers. That's your local, your regional stops. Construction laborers, substance abuse, behavioral disorder, and mental health counselors, heavy tractor trailer truck drivers, electricians, accountants, registered nurses, analysts, and general and operation managers. Now, folks, those are what we calling middle-class jobs. We're talking about on the low range, 40,000, high range, a little bit over 100,000. Those are growing. Did you see what's happening there? This is the anti-AI. We need medical assistants to help a ever-increasingly burdened healthcare system, doctors and nurses. Truck drivers, everybody's ordering something off a freaking website. Amazon's changed the game. Now you're ordering from your local business guy and they're dropping stuff off. construction laborers. Gotta have them. Gotta have them to build houses, build buildings. Substance abuse, behavioral disorder, mental health counselors, heavy tractor trailer, electricians, accountants, registered nurses, analysts, managers, leaders. Guess what's happening here? Every one of these middle-class jobs that's growing has nothing to do with technology. It has everything to do with people. Only things that people can do. Everybody relax. AI, the big bad monster, is not going to kick you out of the workforce. You're just going to have to adapt to it. Good news, though, for middle class. We can get this economy straightened out. We'll see. Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. Thrilled that you're with us. Hey, if you're enjoying the show and it's helping you, would you spread the word? You can do that by liking the video that you're watching on YouTube, subscribing to the channel and sharing. And then if you're on your favorite podcast app, give us a follow and a 5-star review and share as well. Candace is up next in Minneapolis. Candace, how can I help today?
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. I really appreciate it.
You bet.
My overall question for you today is if my job is checking off my talents. I took the Get Clear assessment back in 2017 when I was struggling with my original job. Since college, I'd been there like 12 years. I had little kids. And so I took the assessment. I was evaluating what to do as a career. But then I heard your show, and you mentioned to someone like, sometimes it's not vocation, it's location. And that kind of like opened up a new avenue for me. And so I did find a new job. It was from an hour commute down to 5 minutes. So it really helps my family a lot with being home for the kids.
Good.
Yeah, but it was a big pay cut, which I justified, and we made it work. Now, fast forward to 2024, I'm 6 months into a new career, doing basically the same thing, still working for state government, and I got more money, and now I work from home. But the problem is I'm not addressing any of my passions. And so I have a side hustle where I make things and sell them at the farmer's market. And I love that. But everyone's like, oh, you should make it into a business. But I can't make the same kind of money doing that. And I'm worried like doing more in regards to that would really eliminate the joy I get out of it, because then it becomes more of the business administration.
Right. Yeah, because now you're like, I got to mass produce something that I just enjoy creating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I find contentment
in
my talents being met, but not my passions.
I think so. What is the primary reason that you're working?
Money.
Exactly. and what is that money going to? What's the number one?
Family.
Right. But in what specific way? Is it paying for college? Is it paying debt off? Is it just?
Yeah. So that's the big thing is we are finally debt free. And in 2 years, we'll have our house paid off now that we have more money coming out, and my kids start graduating high school in 3 years. My husband can take retirement. And he's always been the breadwinner working in law enforcement. Yeah. And to me, that's very special that he doesn't feel the burden of that, of being the breadwinner anymore. And so that really keeps me where I'm at. But again, it's just finding that fulfillment factor day to day.
Yeah, and I'm getting there. I totally love this question. I'm trying to end around and figure out if I'm right when I said yes, that you can be fulfilled in a talent-only job. And my answer is yes, if the sole purpose for working is a financial contribution, which it is, then I do believe that you can look at a job and go, this particular job is a resource that is very much needed, and it's fairly temporary. Goodness gracious, temporary. All of a sudden, I just forgot how to talk, Candace. You know what I mean? And so now your mindset on this is, look, there's coming a day where I'm coming home and I'm going to do more of my stuff that I sell at the farmer's market, and that's just a labor of love. Maybe it turns into something, maybe it doesn't. But I think in this case, I don't know that you have to have am I using what I do best to do what I love to produce results that I care about? I don't know that you have to have that if you have fulfillment in other areas of your life. In fact, I know you don't, if you see it that way.
Yeah.
Are you surprised that I said that?
No, I've been telling myself that for a while now, just because it makes me show up every day to work. Like, it's fine.
Well, but I think the purpose in your work, though, now is less about the contribution of the actual result of your work, and the purpose of the work is the contribution to your family and to the lifestyle that you're setting up that you want to live, right?
Yeah, and I think that in the last few years, we've had a lot of family crises and stuff like that. And I think my mind has kind of switched more of that. Like, it's more of a job rather than me contributing to the world. And I guess it's still trying to settle with that. Like, I'm not going to change everything.
Well, that's right. And let me ask you this. What is the timeline, best guess, that you're going to quit this job and that you would go home?
15 to 20 years.
Oh, I don't think I realized that.
Yeah, I'm only in my 40s, so
right. But I just thought that with you guys paying your house off, your husband retiring, that you may downshift.
Yeah. Maybe.
Oh, well, my answer changes a little bit in that everything I said I believe, but I think there's coming a point where you may want to pivot to something that you really enjoy. If you've got a 15-year journey of work ahead of you to where you have to bring in a certain amount of money, then I don't want you gritting it out for 15 to 20 years on talent alone. That will get old. I was thinking, my answer, by the way, for the rest of our audience, in case you're wondering, my answer was based on a short-term season. Is talent enough to be fulfilled? The answer is short-term, yes. Because I was somewhere in my mind, Candace, I had this idea you were doing this for a short term.
Well, and I really need to only be here for 5 years to be vested for my pension. So I have 12 years of pension already at this agency, which I worked at originally.
What kind of pension would it be?
It's a employer-backed pension.
No. How much money are we talking about? If you stick it out for 5 years, what's your pension going to be?
It's based on my high 5 years of salary.
Okay.
And since I'm at the top of my salary, it would be best to stay there for that money.
Okay. Okay. Because my opinion on that is,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
if you're making more money,
if I can freeze it and I don't have to pull on it till I'm full retirement age.
Right. What would you be doing if you could wave a wand and just say, I'm going to go do this kind of work? Because I think you know the answer to that.
Yeah, I would probably be working with senior community probably.
Okay. And so what's required for you to be able to do that work?
Nothing.
You're qualified now?
I already do. Yep, I already do a lot of volunteer work through our church, helping our senior citizens.
So what are there facilities in your area that are in a reasonable drive so it's not back to that old situation?
Yes.
What do they pay? What do those positions pay? More or the same of what you make now, or less?
Less, much less.
Oh, I see. So we're back to that again.
So I do volunteer through church, like serving meals and different things.
All right. So that's, to me, that is the same type of fulfillment as a job with a paycheck. As long as the work is creating a result that matters to you, the brain doesn't know whether in that moment you're doing that task, whether or not you're getting paid for it or not. The heart doesn't know either. All the brain and the heart know is, woo, we're enjoying this, right?
Sure. Yep.
So from that standpoint, if you got to stick it out, as long as you're doing fulfilling work like the volunteering, like the crafts or whatever you're making for the local farmers market, and then you're very involved at home, the life rhythm, the family rhythm as far as schedule and all that is really good, then I think that, you can maintain this. I don't know that I'd do it for more than 5 years, though.
Okay.
Because at this point, you guys have worked so hard to pay your home off, and now you're at a different level, so maybe you don't have to make as much. You know what I mean? Or,
correct. Yeah.
It's not about making any money. That's gravy anyway.
Right.
But you're still bringing money in.
Yeah.
And you're still doing something you enjoy. So I think, does that help you out? Did we get to what you needed?
It does. Yeah. I think it was just a confirmation that balancing, not all just to the work, it still gives you the balance, and I think I was just trying to reach for something that maybe I can't get through just work.
That's right. I think your head's on right. I think your heart's totally wired the right way, and I'm really proud of you. Thank you very much for the call. That is that's really worthy stuff that you're thinking through financially, professionally, and I think you're balanced, and you're going to do something to really help people. This is the Ken Coleman Show.
Thanks for listening to the Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.